Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our channel. I have a special guest today, Jules Franco, and she is one of my dear friends. She is a shamanic priestess all the way from Mexico. Today is going to be a really exciting hour because we've been called to open a lot of these ancient codes, a lot of our ancestral codes, and today going to be sharing with us a little bit about your history, your background, and what's been happening in a lot of these grids, right? So before we get started, I want to do a little bit of cleansing the space. Whenever we do these ceremonies, whether it's online, whether it's in person, we set the intention of anchoring more love, anchoring more of these codes. A lot of times when our higher selves or ancestors reach out to us and they tell us what to do or they speak through us, and it's our job to kind of send offerings. So we have our crystals here today. I like this sweet grass. So, and then I have my peacock feathers just to pay respects to our ancestors. Sometimes I also have like my little oils, and usually I do some type of beverage because I don't want to, anger the sun gods. But I'm going to just open the space and have everybody tune into our hearts and see what comes through. Just finding a quiet space.
Coming into 0 point. Focusing your awareness down to your heart. You can either sit upright or lie down, closing your eyes. Breathing in through your nose. Exhaling slowly to your mouth.
Each breath, feeling yourself sink into the earth, setting the intention to root into Gaia, sensing a pulse beneath you, as if the planet herself is breathing with you. I call the living memory of Earth, Mother. I call upon the guardians of this land, the ancient ones of Mexico, the solar mothers who remember the first sound. I open only what is in divine alignment and nothing else. Today we are bridging the South American ley lines, the earth grids from Africa, connecting to the air dragon ley lines in Asia, the Marianas Trench, the fire nodes in Saudi Arabia, and here in the US. Visualize a golden cave opening beneath your womb, your sacral center, inside the cave, noticing the shimmering pool of light that ripples through violet and turquoise hues. Dip your awareness into these frequencies, cleansing your field, dissolving any cords, and stabilizing your heart. You can speak gently. I am the bridge between heaven and earth.
I am the bridge between heaven and earth.
I do not carry, I transmit.
Do not carry, I transmit.
I do not absorb, I witness.
I do not absorb, I witness.
I speak as the architect of harmony, imagining this golden light rising up your spine, igniting your heart and crown, seeing it expand outwards, forming a sphere of radiance around you in a space where you'll record. And with this, through coherence, all distortions return to love. Through truth, the womb remembers the song of creation, and so it is.
So it is.
And now we can start this podcast.
This party.
I feel so much more grounded. Thank you so much for being here with us. I know what a big deal it is to be doing a lot of the womb work. You have anchored. It has been a long journey, and just the several things we've been through as women, and now we're really finding our power. How are you feeling today?
Yes, I want to start with letting everyone know that I'm incredibly grateful to be sharing, or that you invited me. I want to let everybody know that I admire you from a while back. I was going through my hardest, watching your videos, listening to you, and I was like, wow, how does she does it? And then this desire, wanting to share with you, get in touch with you, work with you, just kept growing and growing and growing. And right at this moment, I'm enjoying every second of it. I'm enjoying absolutely everything like a little child because I feel like I live for this. I truly do. I feel safe around you. I feel safe around your community. People don't know me, but probably like others like me don't open up much. We've been through like people probably don't respect it. I've been called crazy. I've been called so many things. I'm very grateful that we have this community, that you started this community, especially with females, us grid workers that we've been through. Oh my gosh, we've been through hell and back and back and forth and back and forth. And we do need each other. We do need each other. I'm ready for whatever I can offer anyone to grow. Let's keep doing this. We're just getting started.
Do you feel your powers growing stronger every day now?
Yes, the other day I heard you in a TikTok saying it's time to show up. It's not, the time of like hiding or isolated. It's,
Mhm.
we got to get rid of that because it's time to show ourselves, let the world know who we are unapologetically in a healthy way. And yeah, I've never like being filmed or cameras or talking in front of a camera, especially knowing that probably more people are going to see me.
Mhm.
But for some weird reason, I feel good about this. Let's get out there, talk, mingle, go out there.
I
Yeah, it's
love it.
about
And
time.
I feel like I've only met you twice, and we're now here on third base, opening portals.
I love this.
Were you born in Mexico? What was a little bit of your history? How did you develop your gifts? Have you always been gifted and sensing everything? When was kind of your earliest memory of, hey, I'm actually kind of different?
My earliest memory, I was about 7 or 8 years old in Mexico. I was born in Guanajuato, Mexico. My mom she got pregnant of me when she was about 15, and it was really hard for her. And I grew up with my grandma, mom's side. I separated from my mom when I was 8 months old. My grandma took care of me. And well, that kind of like made me feel growing up like I was lonely. My mom didn't want me. She left me. I didn't know my mom until I was 4. I thought my mom was my grandma. And it was really harsh. It was at 4 years old. That was the first time that I came to the US. And can you imagine like being put in this situation where I met a woman that said it was my mom, and then she brought her boyfriend, and then they said they were gonna bring me to the US, which they did, to the state of Washington. Everything was different, different land, language. I had a different mom. Now I had a male that said that I had to call dad. It was just crazy. And that's how I became bicultural and bilingual. Ever since I was 4, I've been coming back and forth, Mexico and in the US. And when I was aware of that I was different, yeah, I was about 8 years old, 7, 8. And I remember I didn't have the best relationship with my mom. And it was painful. I remember praying to God, can you not make me hate my mom? I don't like this hate or darkness or cold that I feel. I don't want to hate my mom. And I feel like ever since that prayer, I felt Jeshua next to me the whole time. Like there, all this. I never felt alone. It was weird because I did feel alone physically. I didn't feel heard. I didn't feel like nobody cared. But at the same time, I felt loved and I felt taken care of. And I felt it was the weirdest feeling, that warmth in me. I remember growing up Catholic, and I would pretend that I believed in the saints, and because I had to kind of like blend in, and it
It's
was
mostly Catholic in Mexico. Is that right? They're mostly Christians, Catholic there.
they're Catholic mostly. They would talk about Jesus, and I was like, but you don't really feel like that. They try to draw me this, or they try to impersonate certain stereotype of Jesus, but I know him better. It's like I don't think he is like that because
Right.
I just knew I was different. I didn't understand. I went along with it. I was very intelligent. I don't know how I did things. I call him my oldest brother. And I know he was with me till I was 25.
Mhm.
That's when I stopped feeling him. Later in my 30s, I started to feel Saint Germain. In my mid 30s, I just knew things without investigating. Just like random cases. Like, let's, for instance, an example. A friend was like telling me, I think I think that this person is trying to do something to me or whatever, whatever. And I'm like, that's not just a random person, that's your wife. He's like, how do you know that? Because this was in social media. So
Mhm.
you know those like
Like
those
just intuition.
it was a false profile. There was like, but I knew it. I was like, that's your wife. And he was like, no, there's no way. And then after that, he found out it was his wife. I didn't like the feeling because I already have enough with my stuff. Why would I want to know other people's stuff?
Mhm.
That's something that I just wasn't interested at the moment, and I kind of like let it go
Mm.
and I stopped it. Later on, things got bad, and that made me got closer to source. And that's when it fully awakened more things. And then I was like, okay, if this is me, then I accept it and let's see what is it about.
Right. And you know how like when we were little, we don't even notice how alone we are, or like we like to be loners, but we've always kind of had vivid imagination. Some of us are well adjusted, but there's that strangeness about us. Many of us are star seeds, or if you have awakened in your ancestral lines, they guide you all throughout your life. For me, it was also Buddha. And I was curious about monks. I remember in 5th grade, my school was like right next to a hill where there was a temple. I was like, what are monks? Like I wouldn't go there. And I was fascinated with the Buddha. We have guides, even though we're not aware of them. But
Yes.
all the hardships in our lives, it's like we can still plow through all of the hard times because you just have this inner strength. And it's such a nice feeling to have. And yeah, you do a lot of womb activations too. You have a rich ancestral line. And just from kind of what I know from grid working, the region of Mexico carries a lot of these immense ancestral intelligence, especially connected to the mother womb of the earth. A lot of them are the original keepers of the serpent line. So a lot of times what we're feeling in our body are likely frequencies from the 5D, 7D planetary gates that thread through the land. And Mexico holds a lot of these portions of what we call the Azurites, or the solar feminine resurrection architecture. It's linked to the original solar dragon queens and several stargates. We were doing a lot of priestess work before these stargates were ley line intersections of the land. I think it's called Teotihuacana. How do you say it?
Teotihuacan.
Yeah, that one, Yucatan Peninsula. The energies there are very dense, ancient. It's definitely waking up now, and a lot of Mexicans are holding those codes. Indigenous families, those underground networks we're sensing are part of these crystalline grids linked to the Mother Arc, Pacific, Central America, all the way to the Andes, the mountains, because those are kind of the current of Gaia's Kundalini. And, we're seeing more of these earthquakes now, just calamities, because the planet is renewing herself. There's talk about minerals right now. It's one of the things why we're in, conflict with a lot of these countries, because of the minerals, Gaia's crystal cores, because she has a lot of energy there. This work that we do is very important because it affects the whole collective, like how we share our resources. I'm really happy we get to share kind of all the hard things that we have gone through, the days when we're just like crying and bawling. It's like, oh, my heart, processing all these antichrist patterns, all kinds of stuff, especially with our wombs. And when I first met you, you had this incredible womb. I was like, oh my God, I've never seen a womb like this. It was like stepping into a cave. And, back in history, a lot of the women's, we worked with darkness, because darkness is where you get power, sensuality. And our sexuality is part of our spiritual practice. One of the things that has been deeply, deeply demonized, it's bad, all this religious stuff, but you can't really truly ascend without integrating your womb space. That's why a lot of us do womb clearing, womb healing. From your experience, I know you're a mother, you have, is it 2 or 3 babies?
Right.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
sure.
I would like to confirm what you're saying about Merida, Yucatan. You mentioned it's a dense area. Oh my gosh, yes. I'm very sensitive to energy, and that place was, I couldn't, I couldn't stay there for longer. I did a lot of work there. I did about almost 2 months, but it was something. It was something, girl. Oh my gosh. And the wind, the way the wind always is, it's aggressive. When you're at the beach and this wind with the sand, it hurts your skin. It's aggressive. But I would still sit there and meditate. I could feel like pain all over my body because the sand and the wind. Yeah, but it's a little dense there. You can feel it in the people.
Mhm.
You can feel it in the air, but it's beautiful. I was in Oaxaca, Mexico. I lived there for about 2 years. I feel like I went there to deprogram
Mhm.
about so many things, including sexuality and your dark feminine. That's where I found myself too. Now, Oaxaca, oh my goodness, Oaxaca, you can feel the origins. Just you can see it everywhere. You could, Oaxaca, it's a land of pure love, fertility, motherly. It's sky, the land, the people, the ways, the weather. You can feel God everywhere in Oaxaca. It healed me. I cannot say enough about Oaxaca. It's magical. I'm not joking, I'm not exaggerating. It's magical. Because when you know, you know. I found a lot of connection there in Oaxaca. I went to a cave located in Oaxaca. The guide was telling us that back in the day there was all sea. So you have to go down steps for 15 minutes to get to that cave.
Mhm.
I imagine back in the day that cave was profound in the bottom.
Mhm.
In this moment, you can see trees and everything is beautiful there, and then you have this cave, and inside this cave is it's water being born. And I was telling you that when I went into that cave, which is when a friend, as soon as we went in, he got really excited. He was just talking normally, like, "Oh yeah, this is interesting. Oh, look at that." But then all of a sudden, when we was inside, he was like, "Oh my God," he was going crazy. And I'm over here trying to hold myself because I started tearing up. And I know when I start crying, it's because there's a very powerful energy there, very powerful. It didn't feel bad, it just felt powerful. We was allowed to grab a little bit of water, which I was, wow, that just made me feel like, am I worth of this water? For some reason, I felt like that. And I didn't want to leave. I didn't want it to leave without leaving something, some type of offering, but I didn't have anything. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm taking this water and I'm not leaving any offering. So I grabbed a hair and I left it, and that made me feel good. I couldn't get over that easily. That I went to sleep grateful and amazed and all of that. And then the next day, I kind of like sit up. I had a huge window in front of me where you can see the sunrise. And so the sunrise was hitting like this. And I grabbed my bra and to like put it on. And then when I grabbed it and I see this long, 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 long white hair. And I could see it just fine because the sunrise was just hitting in front of it, obviously.
Mhm.
It was very clear. And so then I was like, wow, wait, where was I around some like, older people that had white hair or people, but no, I couldn't. It was long, it was really long. And I had to kind of like, how do you say that? Like rip it a little bit so that if I find out if it was a hair or not,
Mhm.
it was a hair. It was the most magical, weird feeling. I still have that hair. I don't know what's up, but that was intense. That was a very intense experience. And I felt like out of this world because the feeling it's unexplainable. But yeah, I can tell you that there's a lot of power in certain caves, especially in Oaxaca. Oaxaca is special and magical.
Right. And all of those caves, they connect together. We would do a lot of our priestess work down there. And it's just you're inside the mother's womb. A lot of these waters from Middle Earth, or it's almost like this chamber of where you're encapsulated and you feel her love there, when you're awake and you have this lineage that really connects you to the land. It's so beautiful. And yeah, I can't there's just so many different lineages that are awaking now, and to hear about your stories, I think so many more should appreciate our ancestry and what they have done for us, because it's gotten us to this point to really awaken the whole world. And for me as well, like I do a lot of cave work. Me and my sister would go to what do you call this, to the Luray Caverns, one of the biggest caves in the US. These caves, like, they go all the way and just connect to each other. And even in the Philippines, when I grew up there, we would always go swimming in caves. We pay respects. Like, we know that there are other beings there. There's other spirits that we need to pay respects because this is their home. And a lot of times when we're just taking resources, you know, we're pillaging, we're cutting down trees, we're not leaving something as an even exchange. There is a law of reciprocity. And if you're not paying respects to these beings, you dig up the mountains, you do all these things, you are harming these spirits. These are their homes, and bad things can happen to you. When we're having ceremonies, we always pay respects to other beings because we're not the only ones that are here. It's all connected to our DNA, our hair. Our hair is connected to the tree of life. It's connected to our wombs. And what else can you tell me about birthing? I feel like birthing is going to change a lot in the next few years and how the woman's body is changing, listening to our bodies. What can you share with us just from your heritage and how people do it before?
Yeah, I feel like that's a very important subject that we should really get into it, like for real, for good. It's not something that we should consider. It's something that we should actually do, yes or yes, because I feel like the way that we are birthing, we're being harmed, abused, tortured at some point. The way we birth, laying on our backs, spreading. I've been looking into how females used to birth by themselves with midwives, help from the family, a
Cow
village.
pose, right?
They grab a rope from up here, squat down, and the gravity,
Push
and
the baby.
there's a poem certain indigenous people wrote saying the placenta should be a gift for nature. It should go back to nature, and they suggested to hang it on a tree so the birds, the fauna, the can eat from it, and to drink hot chocolate, hot cocoa to
Replenish.
revitalize. Yes, and so definitely the way we birth in the U.S., not being allowed to have a piece of our own body back, like the placenta.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy that you have to buy it or don't have access.
You have to buy it?
Yeah, mainly they don't allow most people to buy it, is whatever. My deliveries were a little traumatic. I was in a lot of pain. It took so long. My mom told me, whatever pain you're going through, just don't let them get you that epidural thing, the one that goes in the
Your back,
spine.
yeah.
And she goes like, just you can deal with the pain, but don't allow them to do that. I did. I endured. I delivered my children naturally in the hospital.
Mhm.
I didn't know about midwives because I didn't have any guidance growing up. I don't even know how I'm here because I didn't have any guidance. If I did, it was wrong. We should look into it so our bodies are more in harmony, so that we don't go through that postpartum stuff. Because I mean, how not to go through postpartum if we are treated like that?
Mhm.
If our bodies are touched like that, if our bodies are treated like that in a hospital, nobody cares. Literally nobody cares. The way the doctors sew me back and the way they were touching me was just not right. I just didn't feel it right. But I didn't know better.
The things I saw, like, just from my vision of like how to do the ceremony of birthing, like, you usually have a lot of women, they do a lot of singing, and what I was shown was like this pool of water, and you can put like roses, botanicals, and like it's you and your husband or women welcoming this new spirit. The woman's body, our soul goes out, takes the baby's soul and brings it back to earth. Like, you go out of body. This process is supposed to be orgasmic, not traumatic. You can get such immense activation from giving birth. But because we have so much wounding there, there's so much trauma in our collective wound, which we've been working hard to clear. And there's so much rage. But all that rage, like, once that's done kind of alchemizing, that becomes just raw power. And, you know, it's one of the reasons why sirens, a lot of the witches, a lot of the women before they were killed, our voice activates like sonar technology animals have. It can hypnotize people. It's a beautiful process when done right. When the baby comes out, you put the placenta in a golden bowl, cut it later, or it falls off on its own with golden scissors. Then you take out the placenta because it's kind of like this, it's like their oxygen basically, and it's attached to you still. So when you're cutting it immediately, you're cutting the life force of the mother too. And the mother and the baby is like connected. So we offer that placenta back to the tree or you bury it, there's a process. You let it sunbathe, welcoming him or her to earth.
So different, so different. Now that you're describing all that, I feel peace, and that's the way it should be. We have to stop this crazy situation where I thought if I don't go to the hospital, I could die. The system makes us believe that, yeah, you have to go in just in case you have to have a C-section or whatever. And it's more fear-based.
Yeah. How many centuries have we been birthing without hospitals? We've made it and survived. I'm excited for women awakening to this, caring more about menstruation. It's not gross. Patriarchy has made it seem disgusting if you came out of your mother's womb. But that's all kind of changing now that it's Pluto and Aquarius, more of these ancient technologies, even trees. Trees has very intricate ecosystems, mushrooms, plants, the cow. They're fans. We think it's ordinary, but there's so much technology in Earth. Do you feel a lot of clearings or resistance in the lower bodies and the feminines? What's something in your practices that has really helped clear that space, especially with, past partners, or if you've gone through SA?
Yes, what works for me, if anybody wants to try it, I was guided by my meditations. Nobody told me this. Whenever I meditated, I just knew how to or what to do. And one of the things that worked for me is massaging my womb, because you can feel where the trauma is. I suggest everyone touch themselves in the womb and the belly. Keep pressing there until the pain is released. But like that, I would do every week to kind of like release whatever I went through the week. Back in the day when I was clearing traumas, it was painful. There was some times that I'll like after doing, I would like stay in the fetal position, crying it out like crazy. It would hurt a lot. Sometimes I would use whatever I had because I didn't had money to get crystals. So I would just like use my fingers. Sometimes it takes a while and your hands get tired. I will use whatever I had and I'll just like keep feeling until it was gone. Those vaginal vapor baths, my favorite is rosemary, clove, and rose petals to cleanse my uterus whenever I had a partner that hurted me or that, it leaves you traumas or whatever in the womb because of this guy. And then also, connecting it exchanging energies. There was stuff that wasn't mine. So I would get a pot, boil these herbs, and do my vapor vaginal cleanses. And then after that, I will just like not have any like sexual nothing for like at least a week. So I will purify my uterus. And later on, I learned not to be intimate with just anyone.
Right.
That helped clear a lot of my traumas in my womb. Whenever I bumped into other females, I could feel we had work to do together. I met in Oaxaca. I met this girl. She was my neighbor, and she was carrying a lot of dark stuff, especially in her womb. This is not okay. I didn't plan the things I do. I don't plan. I'm not the type to say I do this, I do that. Usually I bump into people and I know what to do. When I met her, I knew she had a lot of darkness, just unbalanced. So we went camping. We didn't plan that. It was around midnight and I lit a fire. I pulled my sleeves up. I tied my hair up. And then I was like, okay, I guess I have some work to do. And I was like, can you lay on the floor and I'm gonna start working on your womb. I started working on her womb and I could feel all these larvae like hiding. Some went up to her rib and I took them out through the belly button, but she was screaming. She was like literally screaming. We were joking about it later on because I was like, can you imagine the guy that watches the plays at night and you're like 1 a.m, you're screaming like the Llorona. I was like, wow. Yeah. But that day she was like, I can't no more. I can't no more. I was like, listen, mother is grounding you. That's why we're out here.
Yeah.
Your mother is holding you. We got to get through this tonight.
Yeah.
Girl, at that moment, I seen so many dark things. It was nasty. I wasn't afraid. I see ugly stuff. This female entity, I don't want to describe her, but it was nasty. It was a female entity, dark and mean. She had a lot of hate towards other women. They were trying to get to her while she was healing. I was watching the perimeter. Did I know what I was doing? No, but I was there. It was very clear. So this day it was very clear. Then after that, she did She did made a jump and she did get rid of so much stuff that was,
Yeah.
on her way. But yeah, that is kind of like the type of work I do without planning it, without knowing to who, without knowing when. It just happens. And I'm kind of like used to it now.
Yeah, we're just like low-key depossessing people. And, a lot of times we feel depressed, anxious, have anger and rage. Like they like to piggyback on people so that, you can take them back to the light. Or unless you don't know what you're going through, you have alcoholism, you have all these patterns, the 7 deadly sins. That's what they kind of attach to. But I mean, I've gotten to like such a long journey now dealing with darkness and really purifying my womb and purifying the light and dark and really being in the middle. That's why I do a lot of Taoist sexual alchemy, tantra, because you are purifying this space so that they can go back to the light.
And that day I seen the two female entities. One was way different, it was dark. The other one, she was more connected to this reality.
Mhm.
She wasn't okay. She was really mad, sad. She was mad and she just like kept coming. She's like, look at me like really angry. And I'm like, it's okay. I started to talk to her. Do you want to be loved? It's not your fault. You never knew love. People around her, I don't know her story. I didn't mean to get into her story, but I was like, I know that you wasn't loved like you wanted to be loved, and it's never late to know that love. And then I started to opening my heart, and I seen it how bright was it, and I was like, do you feel it? You can feel it and accept it. If you like how it feels, just go with it. And she didn't say no, but she didn't say yes. She just kept observing.
Yeah.
So she grabbed it whenever she wanted to. I left it there in the air for her.
Mhm.
I love darkness too.
It's
It's
all
kind of
raw power.
I feel like my darkness protects my light.
Mhm.
Whenever it's trying to fuck me over, my darkness is the one that comes out and say,
Yeah.
you can't, bitch. Fuck with me if you wanted to. It's
Like,
the way she comes out and say, no, you can't. You just can't.
don't let my dragon come out and bite you.
Exactly. I love my darkness and I live it. Whenever she feels like coming out, I let her be, but in balance. Whenever I see we're staying more days there than we should, that's where I allowed myself to do crazy shit. But the number one rule is do not hurt yourself and do not hurt anyone else.
Right.
That is my only one rule.
Mhm. Yeah. One of the things I've been trying to clear with people is that good girl patterns. We're always people pleasing, always trying to morph ourselves. We need to embody more of our dark feminine, but not like the lascivious type where you're just kind of seducing and using dark magic. Pure dark power is raw power. Like it's really hard to like
I love
even
it.
explain, and like it's very empowering, it's very seductive. That's what the kundalini is about, and you will feel sensual. It is that vibration of the rose. We're fighting all kinds of entities with our wombs, and that's why it's always been targeted. Men have so much sexual trauma in their prostates, and that's why they have erectile dysfunctions. By the time you hit your 50s, you're already on Cialis or medication because they also have trauma. These practices, like Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, they were tantric partners. Like they were using sex as alchemy to really commune with the divine. It is a faster way of ascending rather than purifying very, very slow. But it also takes a lot of work to be in a sacred sexual alchemy practice.
It takes a lot of discipline and being honest with ourselves. It takes loving and being patient with ourselves, but also accepting something, but it is worth it. That work gets you to a very important space.
We get our partner's codes. Even if you break up with them, like you still receive their codes and they still receive our codes too. But when that contract is done, like you and him, or whatever your relationship is like, that is a closed loop, and then you learn your lesson, you move on. But yeah, it's hard to deal with people's mask. Like when we're this sensitive, I get super dizzy and just hangover the next day. It's like, oh, I can't be sleeping with people because I physically will feel like a hangover.
Yeah.
Why am I like this? These aren't even mine. You could have it back. Calling back my power. It's the things women go through. But yeah, we're definitely going back to that sacredness of our bodies and respecting it. Especially now, a lot of women are purifying themselves because By 2027, many more souls are going to come. We're meant to be in partnerships, but it's a long process because we can't take a lot of the distorted patterns all throughout history. And whenever we clear patterns in our bodies, it affects the land. And, when these stargates start opening up, many more like events happen. That's why people feel like, why is the world like going crazy? Because we're heavily activating her, and more of us grid workers doing this work is really something.
Yeah, now I'm starting to see how it works and feels to have this, if I call it like duty. I can see when I'm around people how they shift. They do shift. It's
so funny.
funny.
God, my parents, my sister, brother-in-law, my mom, like me and my mom used to fight a lot. We and her brawl out, but now she's just, it's so different. Like when you shift, everybody starts shifting, even your friends, and they're just like looking at you funny. Your kids are starting to develop their gifts, right? Your daughter.
Yep, I did all this work when I went to Oaxaca. They were a certain way when I left. They were amazing children. But now after I did all that work, oh my gosh, not just because they're my children, but there's something else.
They're super advanced now. Even my niece is probably 8 years old and super smart. She has a nonprofit already. Like she's just doing all this activities, ballet, and she's just
How
so
old is she?
witty. I think she's like 8, 9, or 10.
No.
But like she is just like, dude, you feel like you're 14, 15, just super intelligent. Like these new kids, like they're so brilliant that they're the type of kids that don't, they're immune to BS. They think for themselves.
Yeah.
It's important that our education is going through a lot of changes too, because the food that we give these kids, it's all sugar, and that's why they end up having ADHD and all of these disorders, and we medicate them. But going back to naturally eating and our language, the kids now have different language that they use, but that's what we're trying to prevent: consciousness fragmentation, and going back to not doom scrolling so much, because if other people are controlling your reality, your perception, it also affects the collective. But good thing there's a lot of us awake now.
Yes, personally, breastfeeding, I feel like that was so powerful because I had this feeling about just breastfeeding my children as long as I could, but I only could for 3 months each. I wanted to do more, but for some reason, I didn't. It just stopped. I remember it's not easy. It's not easy to breastfeed because like my nipples will like bleed and stuff, and I will get like fevers out of it. But then I'll be like, I had this feeling I'll do it at any cost because I know that my children are going to be fine if I do it. And it caused me a lot of pain, bleeding, and a lot of fevers, but I did breastfeed each of them for 3 months. And I feel like that did something. That did something magical. The connection with the mother, their health, and some type of divine stuff because they just
connected to the divine.
So every female, and listen, I don't judge. Everybody has their free will, what they like, what they don't. But that is something I recommend.
Yeah, I think motherhood is one of the most honorable service that we can do as women. And yeah, we do want to reproduce, but like we need men to get their act together too. But we're getting there. We feel our masculines getting really strong. Like we're all connected. So if the men are healing our inner masculine, feels stronger. So thank you for showing up to whoever men is listening to this.
I want to believe in men more than anything because I have two. I always tell them no pressure, but you guys are going to make the change. You guys are not going to be like the rest or whatever issues we've been having, but they actually doing great naturally. That's why I still believe in men because I made it too. And that is my contribution
Yeah.
to men, I guess.
Yeah, when you see people for their wounding from lack of love and nurturing, that's why I'm so gung-ho in these podcasts and sharing my message. We need more embodied women using their wisdom and our bodies as a sacred vessel. It's been a long journey, and I'm proud of us because we're finally coming together, forming our circles again, and we've healed a lot of our witch wounds. My God, I had crazy witch wounds. I'd just be like, I can't even talk. Like my throat would close up, and we all have it, and we have resentment. But that's where our practice with having more compassion and transmuting dark patterns into love, because anything that is not love is antichrist. That's what we came here to bridge, both dark and light.
There's so many of us that used to have daddy issues. All I can say to all these women, stay put and believe everything's going to be better and y'all going to heal. I went through a lot of daddy issues. It hasn't even been a year that I was in Oaxaca crying because I just wanted a dad. All I wanted was a loving dad. I thought maybe I need to be born again because I don't see how it's going to happen. When I came back to the US, my father lives in Michigan. I wasn't speaking to him. And then one day I was just like, I want peace in my heart. And I'm just going to go and tell him, I forgive you and forgive me. And I accept you the way you are. Even with all these stuff that affected me, I accept them and I love you. Don't expect anything from this. Don't expect me to be around. Don't expect me to be around your family. Just let it be. I'll let it go. I forgot about it. I did my own thing. Now, it's most spoiled. I don't have to worry about bills. I don't have to worry about paying this beautiful place because it's already taken care of. If I need some help that is like I used to do all this men thing. I used to provide for my children. I used to protect my children. I used to work even like 2 jobs. If something was broken, I had to fix it because I didn't have money to pay. I didn't have even brothers or cousins to come and help me out for guy stuff. Now it's like I don't have to worry about anything. I can just be myself. It hasn't even been a year of this contrast. And now I'm here being a child.
Yeah, it's so beautiful seeing all the changes and the work that we're doing, like really changes. Like it's almost like you are in this divine, what do you, they called it something. It's almost like divine provision. You let go of where am I getting my money? You let go, like, where am I going to get my food? It would come to you. And same with me, like, literally, my neighbors would be calling me, like, hey, have dinner here. And my mom and dad, like, they just visited me and they were like bringing me chocolates. Like, they paid for my car payment. They want to share because it makes them feel good for doing it, because I also look out for them. It's just that reciprocity that, you know, you give and take with other people. Like when I'm helping you guys, like I get business, like that is the 5D. That's the way it should have been. Our economy is moving on. We're using cryptocurrencies as a way for like a ledger of exchange, but we won't put so much emphasis on money anymore because we're going to start valuing each other. We're going to value each other's resources. And there was this kind of verse in the Bible that Yeshua said, think about the birds. Birds don't think about money. Animals get fed, you know, because they're divinely provided for. As humans, it's the same. I resonate with the Buddha. He was wealthy, the prince, and he chose to leave all that behind to go on his hero's journey. And he didn't say that, you know, you can't be wealthy. It's just don't attach so much of your ego to this thing. And more right now online, like we're seeing how people are still kind of in this scarcity mentality because they feel like this urgency, and everybody's just like, I made this much, I made blah blah blah, or hoarding. That's the opposite of where we're going. Like you're going to end up in a much lower kind of frequency.
Yeah, it's that thing of like, I want more, I want more. It's never enough. When I was in Oaxaca, I learned how to live with the bare minimum. If I didn't have enough, I had to work with what I had. I had to wash my clothing in a bucket. I didn't have sometimes a soap where I just like whatever soap bar that I had. Like it was crazy, right? But then there is some type of art to it because your creativity
Sparks.
yeah. And then you feel good about it and nobody stops me, you know, nothing stops me. There's this legendary singer in Mexico. One of his phrases in Spanish, con dinero, sin dinero, yo hago siempre lo que quiero, means with or without money, I'll do my shit anyways. I had to be very creative. I slept on the floor for like 2 years. I had just one spoon because my friend gave it to me or stuff like that. It was crazy. But to it was a beauty to it. It was such a beauty to it to live fulfilled without almost nothing.
Like worrying about so much, right?
I loved it. I loved it. In the beginning, I was crying like, why am I sleeping on the floor?
Yeah.
No. But then eventually, I was able to see it. I lived it gratefully.
Oh my gosh, all the struggles we've been through. When I was 17, I couldn't stand the abuse with my mom, and you know, she said a lot of hurtful things, and it really caused a lot of like wounding inside me with my mother side. But I left home when I was 17, and then I didn't know where I was going to end up. Like literally just packed all my shit one day because we had such an argument, and I ended up moving in with two engineers and a stripper, and I was working two jobs. I worked at
Wow,
Olive
so cool.
Garden. Yeah, I worked at Olive Garden. I was full time in college, working at PNC Bank too, and I was just like, oh, this is just terrible. And I can empathize people going through hardships because I've been there. Like, if you have never been in a bus at 9 o'clock at night coming from Olive Garden with crackheads thinking if tonight was the night you're gonna get raped, it's like, oh no, I can't because I still have homework due tomorrow. Like, you can't tell me it's just mindset,
We are so brave. We are
Yeah.
brave, undescribable for real.
And we can laugh about it now because it felt like yesterday, but we are so different from who we were before, and like how empowered now that we can talk about these things. We've been through some shit. We don't care what we say anymore.
That's what forms character.
It is. Through all that struggle. Sometimes I think about people that I see, it's like, man, you need more struggle in your life. Like, maybe you need to suffer more so that you can learn more. But yeah, it really builds resilience. But I'm glad we're together now.
All
And
about it.
the healers are back online again. But I just wanted to say thank you for sharing your amazing, wonderful story. It is empowering to hear about your lineage, your ancestry, how much you have done for us. Even though there's a lot of political drama happening right now, we know those codes are the reason why, like, a lot of this drama is happening, because those codes are so freaking powerful, and it is the source code of many of these indigenous. It'll just wake up the whole world.
I get so excited when I see, literally, I could jump up and down because whenever I see on social media all these people being happy and joyful in the middle of a protest, how they still manage to laugh and have fun. That's exactly what we're doing, bringing everyone to life again.
For sure. We have such an incredible Latin community where I live. We swim on the river on weekends, and we just bring our floaties. It's like a barbecue by the river. There's like, this is life,
Especially in the
man.
water, like that is so powerful in the water.
Yeah.
It's my favorite. And look, the sun is hitting us.
I know.
That's how you know we are connected.
I know, we're twinning. We didn't even plan this.
That is so cool.
There's plenty of activation in the Asian grids. My lineage heritage, a lot of Southeast Asian. They just had an earthquake there, air dragon, water ley lines. It's amazing. The more we clear in our bodies these patterns, it's connected to the planet, our DNA. I'm so excited.
Yeah, let's keep doing this. I love it. Whenever you want to chat, whether we film or not, or we do all the time, because because our conversations, I feel like it's gold. There's so much information and codes there. So
It's so
whenever
healing. Like,
yeah. Yeah, so whenever you feel like chatting, filming, I'll be here.
oh my God, I can't wait to have more healers and starseeds on my YouTube. You can feel them resonate with people's different codes, their specialties, and we're connecting the network this way. I want to do a live event soon.
Can you imagine like us being all there together, that potency?
It would break the
And
internet.
I mean, just let me know.
Yeah. In my event, it was like everybody was like emailing me back. There's like, this is so powerful. Like, I felt everybody's love there. These are the real grid workers. These are the real like priestesses and shamans. We do this every day. So yeah, you will feel our frequency.
Mhm.
And more and more, that will be how they're the real ones. Thank you so much. I don't want to hold you up too long, but just want to close up this channel and just sending more gratitude and love to you, your family, to everybody that is listening here. Thank you for being here with us. And I know that everybody is receiving amazing, beautiful codes today, earth codes to ground you, womb codes, and all of that. So you can replay this whenever you want. Thank you for sharing your corazon, your love.
And I just have this feeling to do this I don't know what that means, but sometimes I do things that I don't even know, but it feels so right.
My hands always get super activated. You see those paintings, they do this. That's us grounding the energy and connecting it. In old paintings in Renaissance, they're grounding the energy from source down to Gaia. And we usually do this. That's how we create a vortex. Thank you so much. I hope to see you soon. I love you. Take care.
Love you all. Bye.